Up next with me is Cougars head golf coach Derrick Brown. And Derrick, kind of surreal times, obviously, that we're working in right now. I want to go back to, when everything kind of started happening and college basketball tournaments started to being postponed. You and I were still in the office at that point. But, how were your guys finding out about things like this? What, was it all spreading on social media? Is that how they were hearing about it?
Yeah, we'd obviously started our travel for the spring season. We had been to a couple events, and we came back from Las Vegas on the 7th, Saturday, March 7th. And that was leading into our spring break. So I had pre-planned a couple days off for the guys. They were going to get about 4 or 5 days off to go home, see their families in the middle of the year, something that we normally do here at SIUE, to give them a little break in the middle of our season, if it's applicable with our schedule. So actually our guys had all left, and they were at home with their families, and even a couple of our internationals had spent some time with one of our other families in Texas. So when that day came down, a Wednesday, I believe, is when everything started to get postponed, canceled, conference tournaments, and then it all just kind of broke down through the end of the day. I tried to just stay in contact with the guys as much as I can, because just like I did, they had questions of their own of what was going on, and some confusion, some frustration, as everyone in the world was trying to figure out what was really happening here. So kind of unfortunately for us, we were having to do most of it, if not all of it, through text message or even FaceTime or something like that, just to try to keep up with all 9 guys in all different parts of the country at once.
Did you have any inclination, or did they have any inclination that this might be, a finality, the end of the season?
I don't think so right away. Even the few days before when we traveled, we didn't really notice much of a difference until our flight back in Las Vegas. I mean, it seemed we were aware of it on those days, but nothing to the severity that everything is shut down now. But our flight was pretty empty on the way back, only about half full coming back on that Saturday. So I think everybody kind of was curious on what was going on with the virus and everything, but up until obviously with the NBA and the Utah Jazz, I think that kind of just start with some things. But then obviously when the guys were seeing that some of the conferences were postponing spring, and even a couple of them early on that Wednesday had even canceled the spring season. So it started to set in on that Wednesday throughout the day. But with something that it's never really happened before, I don't know if myself or any of the guys truly, believed it was going to happen. You don't really, it's not really ever an option, to cancel an entire season. But, looking back on it now, obviously everybody made the right decision at the right time, and that was what was needed to be.
And so I would assume that it was pretty emotional when you finally had to talk to the guys and let them know that, yes, in fact, you were going to be finished for the year.
And that's what made it hard, that you were doing it not face to face. This is a pretty cool feature with this Zoom and different things, and I know a lot of teams are using it to get together now. But then that day, as everything was going down, it was via group text message. And it's just that's what we're here for, not just the coaching side of things, but obviously to give some sort of face-to-face interaction, or in times when nobody's really prepared to give a conversation like that. And obviously it's not just us at SIUE, but everybody across the country. But I think that made it more difficult for me, just not having the ability to answer face-to-face questions and kind of deal with the emotions that come with somebody getting shut down in the middle of their season. And you've got 9 different guys who are some were playing better, some were still looking for their stride, and then of course you've got a couple seniors that potentially all of a sudden are done, and we'll see what happens with that coming here in the coming days. But it's just it was a rough thing to do via text message and even FaceTime a little bit. not as a group.
So how much have you communicated now since everything is kind of settled in the quarantines? Do you have a regular meeting with guys, whether one-on-one or as a group, or has that not even really kind of happened yet?
No, it does. It feels odd for me because I know that we have guys in class
Mm-hmm.
and I don't see them. And for me, just well, any coach, but really, I mean, as a golf coach, we have true fall and spring seasons. So it's very odd for me to have a guy in class and not have a practice, not have some sort of contact with them. Really, the only time that we don't is, Thanksgiving-ish to the New Year. Otherwise, we are in season. We're either starting first day of class in the fall, and we pretty much end around graduation time. So it kind of only just for my own sanity too. I'll FaceTime the guys just to see their to get the face-to-face interaction. We're going to be setting up some Zoom calls. It seems like the other coaches have had success with getting everybody together and just kind of talking, I guess. We're really not doing, drills or anything online, but more of just the mental side, just to make sure they're doing okay. And then obviously this is a change for everybody that all of your classes are online. Certainly we have guys who take online classes throughout the year and throughout their careers. But to have all of your guys straight online and then doing it not from Edwardsville for the most part, most of my guys are back home or even overseas. So dealing with time differences and all that is mostly what we've talked about to this point, just to kind of see how they're settling in back home and make sure that no one has fallen behind or any issues with online classes so far. And again, once we get to know more here coming up shortly, I'm sure we'll have other stuff to talk about in relation to golf. But
Derrick Brown, Cougar head golf coach, with us here. And Coach, how about you personally? You have a couple of young kids. Your wife is a professor at SIUE, a department head at SIUE, and I know that you all are probably adjusting to a new way of life. How has that been going?
I mean, it's different for everybody, that's for sure. I think this is year, I don't know, I've coached in some facet basically since we've gotten together. So this is, I mean, summertime obviously, but this is the most time that I've been at home, where you're not going to practice every day, or you're not going on a road trip every weekend. So certainly I think there are some times that she wants me gone and out of the house. It's just been part of our routine. Maybe the same for you, Joe. I don't know, as much as
Correct. Absolutely.
But if you look at everything in the positive light, it has actually, it's been fun to do some stuff with the kids at home. I know everybody's doing this homeschooling stuff, and with my kids being 8 and 5, I can still do the math at this level, so I can help out with some different things. And we'll get outside. We got to do something to get outside. So we've played basketball, we've played soccer, we've hit some golf balls in the backyard. We've just do anything just to try to get outside. One, burn energy for everybody, but just still try to stay relatively healthy. But I mean, Josie's life my wife has been turned around probably just as much as any coaches and everything. She, like all professors across the country, have had to take their classes and make them online in a week or two. And she's pretty technical savvy, I guess you would say it, but she has had to do a lot of work at home. And just like on days like this, when I get an opportunity to talk with you, she might go on a walk, and I kind of try to do the same thing if she's in some meetings or vice versa, that maybe we can at least get downstairs or go outside and do something. So we can get the same amount of work done in the way that we want to get it done. But I don't know. I mean, it's weird for everybody, but I've enjoyed spending more time, at home with the kids. And I know when we all come out of this, it's going to be back into craziness again, and back on the road and back to qualifiers and practice and everything. So, just trying to enjoy it.
Yeah, I think you've echoed a lot of what I have heard, and like you said, kind of some of the same things that I've felt. But I've been thoroughly impressed with the way that everybody has kind of flipped very quickly, as you said, it all happened in a matter of days where, like you said, all the classes had to go online. My wife is a high school teacher. My kids are school age. And I've been impressed with how quick everybody has sort of picked up on this technology. Here we are using Zoom, and everybody is using Zoom these days. So I think that, if there's a silver lining to come out of all this, there's the family time, but also just kind of how much we really can adapt.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been pretty amazing to me what, especially in education, what people have been able to do in like a week or two. And there's been a lot of, I mean, people have had to make a lot of decisions, that haven't been easy and tough decisions. And, no one's been in this situation before, so we're all trying to learn and adapt. And, people are doing the best that they can. But I think for the most part, everyone's been pretty accepting of that too, just knowing that, some professor has better access to, a video screen or anything to be able to record lectures, or, a coach being able to set up a Zoom for 9 to 35 players, and worrying about different times and just trying to make sure that that everybody is mentally healthy, I guess is the best way to say it, and but try not to stop it. I mean, because the education is the most important part of this. So making sure that everybody is still, adjusting to their classes well enough that they're still learning what they need to learn. I've got a couple guys who are, when you are in business classes or engineering or biology or whatever it is, you need to continue to learn. So next semester, you're not behind from this semester. So, being able to teach yourself a little bit online is something that's going to have to happen. It's just the reality of it this semester. But, as of right now, it seems my guys seem to be handling the adjustment to online pretty well. So hopefully we can keep that up. And of course, I'm here if they need to try to, get some help with something.
Can you imagine how much more special it's going to be when you get together with those 9 guys and you finally get back on the course and you get a chance to be with your team again, and the same for any team, and even just with staff members again?
I think this will put a lot of perspective on a lot of things that either coaches, admins, even your own parents have told you over the course of, your life, that you take stuff for granted. Some of the stuff that maybe the student athletes, coaches, admins have been frustrated, angry about, or something in the past. Whereas now you may take a step back and be like, hey, remember that time that we couldn't even go get something to eat,
Yeah.
or, we couldn't get back together. Just the getting back to the real life of everyday stuff, that just seems so easy in the past, or the decisions that we've had to make, in the past maybe aren't that big of a deal as maybe we've, grown accustomed to before this. So maybe it's a reality check for everybody, that when we do come out of this, that it's just, things could be worse. We could at any time get taken out of our normal day, situations and get put into something. So, I don't know when that time will be, Joe. I mean, nobody knows at this point when we'll get back to seeing all 9 guys at once, or seeing all the staff members back in the office, and, not just that, but feel comfortable with it. When's the next time that everybody, goes to Busch Stadium and feels comfortable sitting around 40,000 people, or, when even just a birthday party. My kids have missed a couple birthday parties, and, you feel bad for those kids that maybe don't truly understand that, this is the reason that 20 kids can't come over to your house for your 8th birthday party or something. So, not just sports, but everyday life. I think you just, hopefully everybody takes more into, perspective now about what all this could be taken away from you, I guess, at any time. So.
Well, Derrick, I appreciate you taking some time today, and we'll check in again as this goes on, and we'll continue to stay in touch and hope that things continue to go well for you and your family, and certainly for the team.
Yeah, same to you, Joe. We can do this anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.